Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Bells Falls, and welcome to the feed. Here we are.
Talking about women's soccer.
We're talking about women's soccer. I was just relating to Marty how, I don't know if people are watching, but the United States national women's team beat England yesterday in the World Cup. And I don't watch sports. I'm going to lay this out.
I know that shocks the vast majority of the audience.
I don't watch baseball. I don't watch football. People say, what about the Red Sox? And I'm like, okay, But
how many goals did they score, right?
Yeah, how many goals did they score? And they didn't score any. Well, but anyway, I got involved in this because I just was on when it was happening yesterday afternoon, and typically I don't watch these things, and like I was telling you, I see soccer as like ping pong on a big field. It's like they go bing.
It's
bing,
pretty much like
bing,
that. Yeah.
And it goes back and forth for night. It's an hour and a half, and it's like, but this game was amazing. I just happened to tune in for like the last 10 minutes, and it was England and the United States, and England was just pulling up. They were like amazing. They scored a goal, but they got taken back because they were offsides, and then they had a penalty kick, and it looked like they were going to pull it. It's just all these things were happening, and it was really a pretty exciting game. And then the United States won.
What was the final score?
It was 2-1.
2-1.
Woof. Yeah, it was, and so now the United States is going to go to the finals. So that's
nice.
And they play for like a month. It's like that's the other thing that kills me. It's like it's World Cup soccer, and this is like the 25th day they've been playing.
Oh my God.
It's just it's wholly different than anything. Huh. We talk about these guys play football and they run a play and they would stand around for 15 minutes. These girls are out on the field running the whole time, 90 minutes. They don't stop the clock.
It's 30-minute. It's
I think it's 45 minutes.
Oh, 45
well, maybe it is. Maybe I'm not sure.
3:30 I don't
That's
know.
how little I know about it. But I know that all they do is run the whole time. And it's not like, well, I'm going to take a break. No, you don't get to take a break.
Talk about conditioning.
Yeah, really.
Crazy.
Good conditioning. Anyway, we
so
digress.
It's just us today, as you can see. We're doing our 4th of
July. We're doing a 4th of July. We started off with a patriotic women's soccer team.
Exactly.
Patriotic shout out. Now we're going to talk about 4th of July.
So the place to be, if you're local on the 4th of July, the place to be is Saxons River.
And actually, even if you're not a local, I was talking with Peter Ragnar yesterday about this, and he's just up from North Carolina, and I was saying, you have to go to, you really have to go to Saxons River.
Oh, you have to go. You have to experience it at least once. It's the quintessential small town, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they do it up right. So starting out with, in the morning, the registration for the 5K race starts at 7:30. The actual road race will start at 8:30, and that's always a well-attended road race.
Oh, yeah, it is.
There's always I would say there's usually at least 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
There's parade lineup starting at 9 o'clock. The actual parade starts at 9:30, and the theme of the theme of the whole thing is they're celebrating 100 years of women's suffrage.
Oh, neat.
So we're wondering, we don't know we're wondering if there's going to be a lot of the floats will be themed for that.
Yeah, I hope
we
so.
wonder if there'll be a lot of women suffragettes walking through the parade, and if they're wearing traditional suffragette clothing,
that could be very
it could
warm.
be very, very,
very
warm. Just saying. And I just want to give a shout out to the parade grand marshals. It's Women in Government. It's Andy Bernardo, Sue Hammond, Carolyn Partridge, and future voters.
Oh,
so
that's
I'm guessing
great.
there's maybe going to be some kids on that float. And then after the parade, there's of course the firefighters water polo. There's concessions and things during the parade. The street's actually blocked off, and there's concessions. And then there's of course the pie contest.
Yes.
That's at the porch at the Saxons River Inn. Now, I haven't heard, she might be keeping it secret, I have not heard if Chris Miller is going to be entering the pie
She would
contest.
just blow all the if she were to announce, then everyone else wouldn't even show up, I'm sure.
We were trying to guess, the back row this morning in class was trying to guess her secret ingredient. We still haven't, everything.
She won't tell me
she
what
won't
it is
tell
either.
the secret
It
ingredient.
has something to do with creaminess. Because I thought it was a flavor ingredient, and she said, no, it's a texture ingredient.
But if you do want to get a sample of Chris Miller's pies, every Sunday night throughout the summer at Walpole, over in Walpole, on the green, they have concerts. And the concerts start at 6. But if you get there early enough, and I think you have to start camping out around 2, you can actually get a piece of Mrs. Miller's world famous pie.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. It usually sells out.
It's going to be like, you have to get a reservation a year in advance to get a slice of her pie.
Well, I do know that somebody in this room got a whole pie.
I did.
And didn't share it with anybody. We were talking about that in class
I shared it with my wife.
That was nice of you, but didn't share with Alex, didn't share with myself.
Sorry.
Nope, we got to look at it. I said,
I think I took a picture of it.
And then you quickly snapped it shut, and there goes the basket. There goes the basket. So you guys went to an interesting parade.
Oh, we did. Speaking of parades. And
parades.
speaking of suffragettes, because there were a lot of suffragettes that were at the, they may not look, but they actually had like banners and stuff that said suffragettes, and
They had more modern suffragette
more modern
clothing.
suffragette costumes. And what we're talking about is the Coney Island Mermaid Parade that Sue and I went to, and we've been to, I guess, for the last, this is our second year.
It's your second or your third?
Might be our third. It's so much fun you forget. But anyway, we have a clip of that, and it's a crazy time. There were 800,000 people there. That's
even wilder.
200,000 people more than live in the state of Vermont. And this year, Sue and I marched or walked in the parade, and it was so much fun. I mean, if you can imagine 800,000 people, it was crazy. And it was a lot of fun, and there were a lot of weird people there, and we felt at home.
There you go.
So we got a clip that we're going to go to here, and Alex is going to show us the Mermaid Parade.
Well, I'm glad to see that working out paid off for you. You were able to pull off the Popeye.
I pulled off the Popeye. It was great. We had a great time. And the interesting thing was, I don't know whether it was because Popeye is a recognizable thing, but people from the side would scream, Popeye, Popeye, Popeye.
Now, were you the only Popeye, or were
there was
Popeye?
one other Popeye.
Okay.
But out of all these thousands, I mean, there were probably 1,000 entries, and there was only, I would have thought, when I picked the costume, I was like, oh, there'll be like a bazillion Popeyes, and I'll fit in. I'll be able to take pictures, you know, and it'll be practical. It was like my idea of a practical costume. Because my son was the Poseidon, which is the totally...
Not exactly practical.
Not exactly, yeah. It's like if you want to eat or drink or anything. But it was a crazy, yeah.
So tell us a little, there's a kind of an interesting history to the Mermaid Parade.
As far as what the purpose of it is, and how long it's been around. I think it's been around since I can't be all sure. I think it may have been around since like when the boardwalk opened. But currently, I think it's in this iteration. It's like this is the opening of the summer. So they basically do this big parade, and then the king and queen, who happen to be Arlo Guthrie and his wife, walk down, and then they open the water. It's like opening the beach. So they have smudge pots, and they have bands, and they have, and they walk into the water, and they have this key that's supposed, you know, so it's the idea of starting the summer and opening the water and doing these things. But it's involved with all this other stuff now. Like I said, there were suffragettes, there were people, because it's the week before the Pride Parade, and so like it's pre-Pride Parade. There were all sorts of people that were talking about the Pride portions of things, and so it was pretty neat.
And there was I just lost my train of thought there for a moment. Oh, I know what you're saying. You said it's the biggest art.
Yeah,
parade?
It's the largest art-themed parade in the world, and which is sort of cool in an interesting way, because it was, as Sue would say, we were taking pictures, and you'd take some pictures of really outlandish things, and then you put the camera away, and as soon as you put the camera away, something more outlandish. It was where the outlandish was the ordinary. It was just all sorts of an amazing imagination. Some of the things they were puppets that were built on the backs of people, and they would be teams of people. So one person would be like the head, and then other people would be moving the arms, and they would be moving around, and then others were just, there was every kind of, for a while we were marching behind a group of roller derby cheerleaders. And if you could imagine the fun of that was just, and so we were there for a while, and then you sort of move around because of the speeds of the thing, and we were just walking, and then we were behind this whole group of belly dancers, and they were doing their thing, and it's just
sounds like it's an interesting time, but it does. I don't ever see, if you're the only person I've ever known.
Well, I know.
You don't ever hear about it.
You don't hear about it, and I think it's a sort of Coney Island thing.
Cultural thing.
Yeah. And the other thing that was amazing to me is 800,000 people just all packed together, and there was no complaining, everyone was in a good mood, everybody was having fun, there was no yelling, screaming, arguing, or anything like that.
And you had perfect weather.
And the weather was amazing, yeah, it was like 70 degrees, and there was a wind off the water, so
nice.
It was, you could spend time outside, and it was really neat. Anyway.
So I don't think the Saxon River Parade is going to be quite like
it
that.
could
but
be.
It's pretty
I think
close. It's a pretty close second.
There have been times.
Yes.
I mean, I remember there's some groups that come up from Brattleboro that I remember they used to have that group that
the
had
Morris
the
Dancers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they come every year. Is it the Morris Dancers?
The Morris Dancers are the
oh,
sock
okay.
dancers.
I know. There's another. Yeah.
But there was another group that used to come up, and I can't remember what group it was. But they used to protest the Vermont Yankee plant. Now I don't know what they're going to protest this year, and they used to have all these just very unique. They would have unique costumes and things like that. The Morris Dancers are I know.
The
I call them
jingle.
sock dancers, but they're not
dancers.
socks. They're something else. Anyway.
So, and then of course the culmination of the 4th of July is the big fireworks event at the rec center, and also we wanted to make sure you knew where all the local fireworks are this weekend. So did a little research this morning. So starting tonight, you can go out to Grafton for the VSO. which I've never been to, but I hear
Vermont Symphony Orchestra, for those who
don't know.
Well,
it's true.
I always encourage people not to use because I don't, it's VSO. What is that?
Very special ops.
Yeah, something.
And so they have fireworks tonight. And then, of course, tomorrow being the 4th of July, you'd want to go to fireworks in Sections River. Friday night, you can go up to Chester. They're doing fireworks. The American Legion in Chester is celebrating its 100th anniversary. So they're doing a whole weekend of events, but Friday night is their fireworks. And then Saturday, you can go up to Crown Point Country Club, and they're doing fireworks up there. And that's actually a really nice location to watch fireworks from. It's $5 a carload, and half of the proceeds from the fireworks up in Crown Point will go to Honor Flight New England.
Oh, man.
Which is a pretty cool. If you've never seen Honor Flight or know about Honor Flight, what they do is they take veterans from World War II, Korean War, I think even into the Vietnam War now, I think, older veterans, and they fly them down to D.C. to see the war memorials.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite an interesting event. And it's all, the veterans don't have to pay. That's why they raise the money. And so half of the money on Saturday night will go to Honor Flight. And if you're not into fireworks, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
There might be fireworks at Hedwig, I'm not sure.
But it's the beginning of the Great River Festival. And man, I mean, talk about a big weekend. This is going to be
busy
crazy.
Weekend. Busy weekend.
The Great River Festival. We had David on a couple weeks ago to talk about that. If you haven't seen it, you can go back and watch that on Fact TV. But there's all sorts of performances going on. I don't want to say the two headliners, but they might be the two headliners.
They're pretty much the headliners, I think.
Is Hedwig and the Angry Inch and the HMS Pinafore are the two big plays going on.
And I think if you're talking about
about
plays, I was just going to say, if you're talking about plays that are opposite ends of the spectrum.
Here we are. You hold that one, I'll hold this one.
You couldn't get any
This is
more.
how far apart we are.
You couldn't get any more different in format than a Gilbert and Sullivan, HMS Pinafore, and Hedwig, the Angry Inch. Basically, interesting. I don't know how else to say it.
And I don't either. And I was actually talking with Jimmy Malley, who's playing in HMS Pinafore, and he said that just to see the sailors, because most people think of the sailors in the HMS Pinafore as like these 20-something guys that are dancing around the stage.
I think traditionally they are.
Well, in this production of HMS Pinafore, it's the 50 and 60-something guys.
The more mature sailors.
The more mature sailors.
Experienced sailors.
Yes, experienced sailors that are dancing around the stage. Which I don't know. Marty posted some pictures.
I did share some pictures out yesterday. Yeah,
you have to see. They were these guys in their like old timey bathing suits and the costumes. Oh, they're just hilarious. So I can't wait.
HMS Pinafore is fun. HMS Pinafore is going to be at the Horowitz Hall, and that is going to be on July 6th. 11th and 12th at 7:30, and July 7th and 13th at 2 o'clock. So they're splitting the festival's splitting up over 2 weekends. So I know this weekend is tough because there's 4th of July.
Yeah.
But if you do miss it, if you miss the performances this weekend, you will have a chance next weekend.
And Hedwig looks. You had pictures of that up too. And
Hedwig,
that was.
I can't wait to get. I gotta get my tickets for Hedwig. Hedwig is July 5th, 7th, and 12th, and this is actually happening at Main Street Arts at 7:30.
Yeah, and
on July 6th.
Hedwig. I have to say Hedwig.
It's not Hedge.
I know.
and
July, Michael changing things again.
And July 6th and 13th at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. And I've seen I shared out some of the pictures of the set of Hedwig, and it's going to be the entire theater is made into the set.
Yeah.
And so it's a very, I think it's going to be a very audience-involved play. I mean, not involved in that you have to get into the play, but it's going to happen all around you.
In the middle of the action.
Yeah, because it's basically, the premise is the show. He's a performer. Hedwig is a performer. He's performing a show. So if you need to get tickets for the play, you can go to www.greatrivertheaterfestival.org. Or you can go to mainstreetarts.org, either one. You can call Main Street Arts, 802-869-2960. And definitely get your tickets. There's a festival pass that you can get for $50 that will get you into both plays. There's also dance company coming. There's a suitcase performance company. And our next
Yeah,
thing
don't forget.
is for all you bakers out there like Chris Miller and Sue Smith. There's
Sue Smith.
Yeah, Sue Smith. There's
Prize-winning baker.
I heard prize-winning
Carrot cake cupcake baker.
Say that 10 times fast.
Yes,
Carrot cake
it's not
cupcakes.
easy.
So Main Street Arts is doing Bake Your Art Out. It's happening on Saturday, July 6th. They're doing an event called the Great Tent Event that's going, basically, I think the tent event's going all day, but the Bake Your Art Out is from 10 to noon out in Saxons River. It's a creative dessert competition and fundraiser.
Yeah.
So the money that they raise is going to help fund the reconstruction of Main Street Arts education space and commercial kitchen.
Yeah.
Because they
Well, that's sort of appropriate. Isn't
It is
Yeah,
appropriate,
that's really a nice
and
theme.
it sounds there's some good prizes. King Arthur's Flowers giving some gift certificates to the winners.
Yeah,
and
like $75 gift certificate.
Yeah.
With King Arthur's, pretty cool.
And we have some rules for entry. So if anyone's, because I think I thought when I saw it that you were going to have to bake there.
No.
You're actually not baking there. You're bringing your baked good in. So all contestants must complete an entry form. You can get that online. Your recipes must include King Arthur flour. If you're baking gluten-free, you can use the gluten-free flour. You have to bring in the open bag of King Arthur flour or the UPC label to prove that you use King Arthur flour. And you must provide your recipe. And then the entries must be dropped off at Main Street Arts between 10 and 10:30 on Saturday. And they're going to judge on overall creativity, 40 points, taste, 30 points, and presentation, 30 points.
Yeah, so it should be
Should be
interesting.
fun.
Yeah,
Very
A lot
fun.
of good stuff.
And what a cute idea, Bake Your Art Out.
Yes. So I'm not the only one who changes names around here.
Oh,
As we were going through because Marty does a little sheet for us that helps us get through the show every week.
I got a little confused.
And now we're at the part called Four Horsemen. And I was like, it's the apocalypse? What's going on? And no, it's not the apocalypse. It's 1,200 horsehairs.
It's close. 4 horsemen, 1,200 horse
Yes.
hairs. I don't see it. I think
Yes.
it's splitting hairs that the difference between the
very
two.
good. But anyway, we're going to talk a little about. We did a 1,200 Horsehairs is a cello group that played here at the Stone Church.
At Cellos and Bellows.
At Cellos and
yes.
Bellows by Eugene Friesen, and it was great. And I'm working on a video production with them. They went out to the meeting house and they played one of their songs there, and so we got a clip of that coming up, and then we'll talk a little bit about another event coming up, a cello event.
That was great.
Yeah, and if you like that, Eugene's going to do...
Eugene's doing next Friday night Gypsy Jazz and Brazilian, which he did that last year, and we're both there. It's
really
amazing.
Good. But that's all the time we have for today, folks. We're out of here. Have a great 4th of July. We'll see you next week when we talk about the Westminster Garden Tour.
Donna Dawson from Westminster Care is going to be our guest.
All right, bye.
Bye.
That's it, folks, for the feed. Be sure to catch us every Wednesdays at 7:30 a.m. Also, find us on Facebook at Fact TV or tell us what you think. thefeed8@gmail.com. And don't forget to watch the feed online at www.fact8.com.